In the late 1990s, a Santa Barbara band was becoming one of the rising stars in the evolving genre of nu metal. Right around the time bands like Seven Dust, Coal Chamber, and Limp Bizkit were growing in popularity. The band had charisma, energy, and intensity. Snot reached success by 1998 after an incident at Ozzfest, where vocalist Lynn Strait came out of a makeshift toilet during Limp Bizkit's set. This landed them on MTV, where Lynn's personality truly shined.
Do I have to get naked people for you to remember my name? It's Lynn from Snot, alright?
The band was looking to be unstoppable, until tragedy struck, leading to the band falling as fast as they rose after vocalist Lynn Strait lost his life suddenly on his way home. This is the story of Snot. Snot! Growing up. Before Lynn Strait became the heart of Snot, he was a troubled kid, battling a childhood of constant relocation. Born in 1968 in Manhasset, New York, Lynn's family eventually settled in Santa Barbara when he was 10. During his teen years, Strait developed a love for artists such as Ozzy Osbourne, AC/DC, and the UK ska legends The Beat, becoming well attuned with the SoCal punk scene, learning bass and running gear for a punk rock band known as Rich Kids on LSD, or RKL. Lynn's admiration for punk rock influenced his chaotic attitude that defined the punk rock ethos of the time. Lynn then played bass for a punk band called Lethal Dose. Their 1988 live recording projected the band's raw, fast, and thrashy vibe, drawing inspiration from bands like Crass, Metallica, and Slayer.
Alright, this next song is going to be going out to all you bingers. Hey, there's a lot of people out here and they're all having fun. Sean's over there tuning it up on guitar. Steve's sitting behind his drums looking for a sip of some water or something. Lynn's over here on bass, playing bass. And everyone here is just having a jolly time, right?
Although the project wasn't widely recognized, it still goes very hard and pays homage to speed metal as well as punk music. However, the same energy that fueled his talent led him down a darker path. Lynn struggled with Tourette's syndrome as an adult and had a history of violent and reckless behavior. His sister Jenny, in an interview with Kerrang, mentioned he had a lot bottled up inside of him. He was so hard to contain, though he was brilliant. He was always banging on something, whether it was a table, or the chairs, or my head. Lynn also struggled with drug abuse, becoming hooked on heroin, which eventually led to his arrest and time in prison. After incarceration, he became the vocalist for a band called Glue. Now sober, Lynn showcased his true talent, vocals. While not much footage of the band exists, his sister described his vocals as much slower and more controlled than that of Snot. The formation of Snot. Snot began in 1993 when guitarist Mike Doling started experimenting with a Boss DR 550MX drum machine and a 4-track recorder, handing out instrumental demos around town. In 1995, Doling linked up with Lynn, who was playing a show at a bar. During episode 161 of the Garza podcast, Doling recalled seeing Lynn go absolutely insane, jumping on bar tables mid-set and realizing he had to meet him.
And just as I walk in, I see this dude. I didn't know it was Lynn, but it was. Stage dive off the stage onto a table full of pizza and pitchers of beer. Land on his back. Everything goes on the floor. He's kicking his feet in the air and singing. And I thought to myself, that's my singer for Snot. Right there. I was like, that's the guy. Who is that? What the hell's going on here? And then after they were done, I went over and talked to him, and I realized I knew him from Lethal Dose. I'm like, wait, you sing too? Because I knew him as a bassist, you know. And I told him what I was doing with Snot. He said he'd come check it out, and then boom, that was the spark right there.
The two began to work on a demo together. Mike mentioned that upon initially practicing with Lynn for the first time, he was reluctant to see the vision. While Lynn was talented, his attitude made him abrasive. However, after a push from the temporary bass and drummer at the time, they believed that Lynn was perfect for the role. Concurrently, on the East Coast, a thrash band called MF Pitbulls had formed, featuring bassist John Fonstock, guitarist Sonny Mayo, drummer Jamie Miller, and Shannon Larkin, who later become known for being the drummer for Godsmack. All the bandmates, or pit bulls the band would call themselves, came from various musical backgrounds. Fonstock had been playing guitar since the age of 11, playing at clubs at 16, jumping from project to project until landing a spot for MF Pitbulls, where he met Sonny Mayo. Mayo originally played saxophone, but moved to guitar after listening to Metallica's Kill 'Em All record. When Shannon Larkin left MF Pitbulls to join a band called Ugly Kid Joe, moving out west where he met Doling, Doling was still on the hunt to find members to play for Snot. After a couple beers with Shannon, he decided to hook Doling up with some of his ex-bandmates, including Fonstock, who was good friends with Larkin since the 80s.
Two were on the side there. Sonny Mayo and Jamie Miller.
Yeah.
There's 3 members of Snot in that picture.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and then our other friend Scotty.
Yeah, props to Scotty. That's how I found the 3 members of 5 guys, through Shannon. Thank you, Shannon.
Mayo and Fonstock drove 65 hours straight from Pennsylvania in a beat-up 81 Toyota Celica. Upon arriving, they did a 2 a.m. jam sesh where the group clicked, solidifying the formation of Snot. Shannon Larkin wasn't looking to leave Ugly Kid Joe though, so he did not officially become a member of Snot. Upon showing producer Garth Richardson, who worked with Rage Against the Machine, a demo of Snot, he was impressed and offered to work with the band. And for a band that only just solidified its lineup, this was promising news. Jamie Miller would replace Larkin in May of 1996, making the band lineup official. Miller was from Baltimore and had been playing drums since 13, even lying about his age to join bands. Miller met the band at a show with the Pitbulls where he temporarily became their drummer. Right before Snot, he joined a band called Souls at Zero. However, this band didn't last long, which led to him becoming an official member of Snot.
We were like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
we
who's our drummer
we
now?
kind of found a clone of you. Like, this is unfreaking believable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, Jamie also now plays in Bad Religion for the last 10 years. So
Looking back, Miller described the band's sound as something special, saying that even from what I heard on the earlier tapes, I knew the band was unique. It's hard and punk, but there's also a light side. Too many bands are too dark and mysterious. Lynn Strait then added, all these LA bands have causes. If we have a message, it's to not take yourself too seriously. All we are is politically incorrect. We like eating steaks. Guitarist Sonny Mayo once said, we started playing shows down on State Street, and there were skaters, surfers, metalheads, and every other token 90s dreadlock hacky sack kicking motherfucker showing up. We got it all going. What made Snot unique was its blend of metal, punk, and funk grooves with songwriting that was playful, yet full of attitude. Snot's sense of humor and energy was embedded directly into their songs. This stood in sharp contrast to the darker tones typical of nu metal acts like Slipknot, Deftones, and Korn, whose playfulness was often expressed more through their image and performances than directly through their music.
How you doing, guys?
Hey, what's up? Good. I'm drunk.
Early Snot. At first, Snot was seen more as a casual side project, performing at garage parties across Santa Barbara. That would change ultimately in 1995, when Snot played their first official LA show at the Roxy. They shared the bill with Coal Chamber, System of a Down, and headliner Manhole. Manhole was a LA-based rap metal project by former rapper Terry B. Manhole had a brief stint in the nu metal movement, which briefly lasted until 2002, under the name Tuda Satana. This was after a legal issue with a Texas punk rock band of the same name. During their set, a notable moment occurred when Lynn jumped on stage and performed backups, which gave the band a much-needed push. I want to mention how loved Lynn Strait was during this time period, where Dez from Coal Chamber even mentioned that Lynn was a frontman who couldn't be duplicated. We were about to get into a fight because I was dating his ex-girlfriend. Instead, we ended up smoking a joint and going to the bar together. Soon, other bands including Sugar Ray, Head PE, and System of a Down welcomed Snot, giving them opportunities to tour together.
Say something for the record. Tell the people what you feel.
Fuck the record!
Fuck the record.
And fuck the people!
Get Some, 1997. All this energy caught Geffen Records' attention, and they signed Snot in June of 1996. This led to the release of Get Some on May 13th, 1997, featuring Lynn's boxer, Dobbs, on the cover. completed with a lemon on his nose with the band's title on it. This actually came from a lemon tree that was in the backyard of the band's house that they were staying at. Dobbs was even considered an honorary member of the band, being sampled for some of the tracks. The original Snot demo wasn't particularly impressive to John and Mike, but over time, the band honed their songwriting. Most of the songs were written before they were signed, rehearsed in a small shack, with Lynn credited as the main writer alongside Peter Gardner. Later, they worked with Dave Fortman, guitarist of Ugly Kid Joe, and a legendary producer who worked with Mudvayne, Evanescence, and Slipknot. He generously offered them his studio, which helped shape the demo that eventually got them signed by Geffen. The band continued recording at Longview Farm Studios in Massachusetts, crashing there for about a month. Some tracks, like 313, were recorded on the fly during jam sessions they would have every day. By the time Get Some was released, the band was living together under one roof, and Dobbs, Lynn's boxer, had 5 male puppies that very same day the album was released. Lynn's songwriting had matured, mixing humor, raw energy, and social commentary. Their self-titled track, Snot, captures this perfectly with its funky headbanging vibe and its humor. Another standout, Snooze Button, embraced punk's tradition of using lyrics to send a message, a song promoting individual freedom. It's a critique of the politically apathetic youth, urging listeners to notice when the government oversteps their bounds. Other tracks weren't as politically driven. Songs like I Just Lie explore how manipulation is used by men to deceive women for sex, and vice versa. Snot's lyrics often carry sexual undertones, but mostly in a tongue-in-cheek style rather than a serious or romantic one. Other songs were a lot more direct with the sexual implications, like My Balls. Lynn Strait was very much a ladies' man. Doling even mentioned in an interview that while recording at Longview Farms, Lynn was constantly going out and hooking up with women. His stunning looks and charming personality made him almost impossible to resist.
Right? He saw this girl driving, and she was with her grandma. I'm not kidding you. Follows her, hits a red light, pulls up behind her, jumps out, knocks on her window. She's like, "What the hell? Hey, I'm Lynn, and I'm in town. And here's my number. Write it down. Give me a call." Not kidding.
Yep. Before you know it, she's at the studio.
At the studio.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tracks like Get Some ODs and Stupid showcase nu metal experimentation with modulation, or, the wah-wah effects, creating unique sounds within the genre. Stupid was written by Lynn while in jail, a raw, personal message to bigots who don't understand or accept who he really is. Get Some Keys added keys for a jazzy groove, proving how stretched the band's talent really was. And it wasn't just traditional rock instruments. Songs like Deadfall even featured the banjo, highlighting the band's playful willingness to experiment with certain sounds, which was a reoccurring feature throughout Get Some. Geffen Records asked the band to record at least one radio-friendly song, which led to The Box. This track featured impressive octaves, using dual guitar techniques the band picked up from their time working with bands like NoFX. They did this by having Sonny Mayo going down the octave scale while Doling went up, creating a standout split melody.
With my ears.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Sonny would go down the scale.
Yeah,
and I would
John was saying.
I would go up,
Maybe
and you
that's
would
what
hear
it
the
is.
rub in there a little bit.
Maybe that's what it is.
And it made a cool effect.
This session ended up inspiring an entirely new song, Absent, which would appear on their next record, which turned out to be the final song ever recorded by the 5 original members of Snot. Get Some remains a hidden gem in the nu metal world, a relic that many fans, such as myself, consider one of a kind. Anyone interested in the genre would find something to love about this album. While Get Some didn't initially sell well, it did earn praise from bands like Sevendust, Machine Head, Soulfly, and Limp Bizkit, who saw Snot as the next big thing. Ozzfest 1998. Ozzfest was an annual music festival in the United States hosted by Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. After Ozzy's brief retirement in 1992 with the No More Tours tour, his boredom led to a desire to get back on stage. Sharon had reached out to the promoters of Lollapalooza on signing Ozzy for the bill. However, he was denied a spot at Lollapalooza, being dismissed by promoters as a dinosaur and being not relevant, a common stigma towards Ozzy at the time. Sharon responded by launching the first ever Ozzfest in 1996.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the park.
Ozzfest quickly became a platform for counterculture and up-and-coming metal bands that were often overlooked by the mainstream. The festival initially ran for just 2 days in Phoenix and San Bernardino, California, featuring 2 stages, one for the headliners and another for rising acts. The event was a huge success, and by 1997, it expanded to a 22-date tour. Lynn Strait mentioned in an interview that he wasn't entirely sure how Snot ended up getting invited to Ozzfest, but he does, however, pinpoint a show at the Palace in LA. Possibly through their connections in the emerging nu metal scene, Ozzy and Sharon caught their performance, loved both the band and their record, and personally invited Snot to join the tour, effectively giving them Ozzy's blessing.
It was Fred Durst daring me to do something, and
He's at the root of everything.
He is.
The giant toilet incident. So on tour for Ozzfest 1998 in Mansfield, Massachusetts, Limp Bizkit was set to play on stage. The band had for the tour featured a giant toilet to be presented in the middle of the stage.
What brought the toilet up in the first place? You're thinking stage props. How about a big toilet?
I have a couple bowel movements up on stage and flush a couple of our most popular celebrities in the music business right now.
It's like Ozzy.
Fred Durst had egged Lynn to come on stage during their set to sing with him. Lynn, never one to back down, agreed, even joking he wouldn't be afraid to do it even if he was naked. Then, that's when the dare came in. Originally, Lynn had nothing but a towel on. When he emerged from the toilet, he actually removed the towel and got involved with a dominatrix who was part of Limp Bizkit's set. When security saw this, they immediately began rushing the stage to capture Lynn. Lynn fled backstage straight into Ozzy Osbourne's dressing room, where Ozzy, Sharon, and Kelly were getting ready. He apologizes and pleads to Sharon, who at this point is laughing her ass off, about using the bathroom. And Lynn says,
Hey, dude, can I hide you? Go on, Lynn.
Sharon, I've never met you before. I'd love to meet you under better circumstances, but if I don't run out the back right now, I'm gonna get arrested.
Lynn managed to make his way out the back door, briefly chased by one of Ozzy's dogs, which he scooped up to keep them safe. He then quipped to a security guard, "These are Ozzy's dogs, and if you fuck up, you're gonna be in big trouble." Eventually, security cornered him in a boiler room, where he jokingly gave his name as Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. The ruse didn't last, and as a result, Lynn was arrested for indecent exposure. Despite the arrest, the stunt worked wonders for Snot's reputation. The band gained a huge amount of attention, secured a story with MTV, and this resulted in their sales to skyrocket. Snot was now headlining LA shows, putting them firmly into the mainstream. Later, Mayo and Miller stepped away from the band on good terms to pursue other projects, but Snot's momentum didn't slow. Shows were booked, records are still being sold, and new music was in the works. Until tragedy struck. Around 4 a.m. on December 10th, 1998, Lynn Strait and his boxer Dobbs were killed in a car accident. Their 1992 Ford Tempo was T-boned while making a legal left turn on Highway 101 southbound. The LA Times later reported that Strait was the third victim at that notoriously dangerous intersection. In an instant, Snot's meteoric rise came to a heartbreaking halt. Doling was in the middle of writing, Fonstock was back at home, and they both felt an eerie sense that day, and just knew he was gone. To honor Lynn, the bands who once supported Snot came together to create Straight Up, a tribute record. Nu metal icons like Serge, Jonathan Davis, LaJean Witherspoon, Fred Durst, and Brandon Boyd all contributed despite any beef between each other. Shannon Larkin returned temporarily on drums, while Jason Sears from RKL, one of Lynn's idols, appeared on the track Until Next Time. Even Ozzy Osbourne contributed to the record.
He became a part of my family because it was such a... I could relate to this guy. The guy was kind of like me years ago, you know. I mean,
the album was so prominent that posters of Straight Up can be seen in Jack Osbourne's room during the Osbournes TV series. Coordinating this record was no small feat. All these bands were signed to different labels, making collaboration a logistical challenge.
he is such a sweet man. He was such a sweet man. And the world has missed out on such a great guy, man. And I can say I'm very honored to have known him. and he's very sadly missed around here. And that is from the bottom of my heart.
The new Snot. After Lynn's death, the remaining members of Snot largely disappeared, feeling the band wasn't complete without him. They wouldn't reunite until 2007 in Anaheim, California, when in vitro singer Jeff Weber stepped in for a one-night performance. In 2008, Snot officially reformed with former Divine Heresy vocalist Tommy Vext.
Tommy Vext came down and blew fucking doors.
That dude right there.
Yeah, he blew the roof off the Roxy where we were auditioning him. And yeah, again, we didn't know exactly what we were going to do. We kind of were thinking maybe we'll just do a few shows. But as we got together and started working, we wrote a song or two, tracked one, and then got offered a couple tours, one of which is this Mudvayne tour. And we also did a Devil Driver tour. So now we have 2 songs on our MySpace page on the internet. We're not signed, though we're open to any options. But yeah, right now we're just kind of throwing down, man. I don't know if we're reestablishing ourselves or what we're really doing, but we're jamming every night, and we'd love to, and that's what's going on.
Recording 3 new tracks, Ability and Control, Fan the Flames, and 1,000 Ways of Pain. However, the band eventually went on hiatus again, as members pursued other projects. A second reunion came in 2014, featuring the 4 original members. They played sporadically, including international shows, but remained relatively inactive. Vext then left the band and was replaced temporarily by Carl Bensley. And after 10 years, the band introduced a new vocalist, a new permanent vocalist, Andy Knapp. To protect Knapp, the band initially kept his identity a secret until his first live performance, confident that he was the perfect fit for the band. And they were right. Knapp's vocals were spot on as a proper predecessor for Lynn. Their recent live footage showed that the band was the closest to original work thanks to Knapp's loud, intense vocals. By 2025, Snot toured again, this time without Mayo. As the band members balanced music with their personal lives, with lineups changing continuing, both Doling and Fonstock remained dedicated, and an announcement of a new record shows that Knapp fits seamlessly into the band's dynamic, giving them enough confidence to work on another record. Lynn's chaotic energy, reckless behavior, and history of drug abuse had long been part of Snot's story, yet his passion, charisma, and spirit continued to inspire the band after his death. Fonstock has even said that he occasionally sees dreams of Lynn, feeling as if his presence is still with them to this very day. And while many see records like Korn's self-titled, Deftones' Adrenaline, and Sepultura's Roots as the founding fathers of nu metal, Snot and Lynn Strait left a mark that could never be forgotten. Their energy, chaos, and passion still resonates with fans today. Never forget Lynn Strait. Thanks for watching.
Shout out to all the free Uncle Unmated patrons.
And thanks to viewers like F-Fom, Burgundy Red, and Dinky My Winky. Thank you.